Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast.
This is where you will get smart tactics and strategies to accelerate your business.
And where we share top agent secrets and stories that will help all of us be better at our profession and serve our clients better. And we're your hosts, Todd Sumney
And Rich LaRue.
Let's get into the episode. We are excited about our guest today. We have with us in studio Mick Kapanicas. He is a realtor in Phoenix, Arizona, or rather the whole state of Arizona. Yep. And we are going to talk today about building wealth through real estate purchases using your self-directed IRA. And as if you've listened to some previous episodes before, I'm sure you've heard Rich and I talk about how to set up an LLC, how to actually set up a self-directed IRA, and to begin to use funds in your IRA to purchase real estate instead of purchasing stock or investments. For those of us that are real estate professionals, we know the real estate market inside and out. And when we're purchasing other investments, we kind of have to rely on other professionals to kind of guide us, and it kind of feels like we're giving up a little bit of control when we use our IRA funds, our 401k funds that we transfer into an IRA if in certain situations. We have control over them because we're investing in something we know a lot about. So very excited. I believe Mick recently has started to do this, to execute it. So he heard about it, but then he took action. And so we're going to tell his story. We're going to talk about what he's done. We're going to talk about how, I know you're in the early stages, but we're just going to talk. And we're going to talk about someone who heard the opportunity, but then took action.
I'm really excited about this too. And I've said it once or twice before, but my dad was a stock investor, and just a regular guy. He was a meat cutter. He had 5 kids. Trying to scrape together every nickel that he possibly could, and he would invest it in the stock market. And he would study the Wall Street Journal, and he would take the recommendations from his stockbroker, and he did really well. And I did not inherit that gene from him.
Right.
In fact, if you want to invest in stocks and make money, do the opposite of what I do with stocks. All right, and that works. Right. But the difference is, my wife and I understand real estate.
Right.
And once we were able to divert our money, not divert it, once we could reclaim it from the 401k and invest in something other than that handful of funds that we had available to us, which, I'm a S&P 500 index fund guy, right? Because I suck at picking stocks, and that's how you can get around that. Right. But to be able to now invest in real estate, we're so excited. Right. And so it's a fun journey, isn't it, Mick? And I can hardly wait to hear the details of your story, because this is real life stuff, and it's really exciting. Yep. And so that we can do and we can invest in what we know best, which is real estate.
Right. Yeah. So real quick, let's do a bring everyone up to speed real quick before we dig in with you, Mick, and your experience, your story, all about you. But let's talk about self-directed IRAs for a moment. So a self-directed IRA is where you are taking retirement funds. You are setting up, instead of having an IRA that's invested in mutual funds or the stock market, et cetera, you are going to a company or you begin to work with a company who sets up self-directed IRAs, who have some special rules, and they allow you to invest in things other than the stock market. So some companies, their IRAs, their 401ks only allow you to invest in the stock market or in those types of investments, because that's pretty much how their business is set up. These self-directed IRA companies allow you to move money into a self-directed IRA, and then you can use it for these other things. So you've heard us say 401k IRA. As an example, if there was someone who had a 401k through their employment, and then at some point they either retire or they terminate that employment, they don't work for that company anymore, they can do what's called a rollover or a transfer, where they can take that 401k money and put it into the new 401k at their new company, or they at that point have the opportunity to put into a self-directed IRA. And so as an example, I know of someone who's done just that. They no longer work for a company. The 401k money was sitting there. They moved it into a self-directed IRA by partnering with one of the self-directed IRA companies. And at that point, they can use that investment monies to purchase the types of investments they want to purchase. Now, there are some rules and everything. We're not going to go into all that really today. But at that point, though, you're in control. You can do that also with IRAs, move them into a self-directed IRA as well. So talk with your investment professional, listen to these podcasts, learn about it, and take action. What did I miss about that? Just setting the stage for what we're talking about.
Yeah, be careful talking to your investment professional, because if
That's
they
true.
work for one of
That's true.
the big companies, they will say, no, you can't do that.
Right.
And yes, you can do this.
Right.
Totally legal, absolutely above board. So it's
Right.
not an issue.
Right.
But there's so many investment professionals who don't understand that this is legal, or they refuse to pay attention to it because they're selling different funds.
Right.
And not to go down that rabbit hole, but I mean that's what a lot of this is.
But as an example, or to set the opportunity, we know of someone, you and I personally, who has upwards of 13 to 14 to properties that they have invested in through self-directed IRAs that they are renting, leasing out. So many of them they own free and clear. And so one of the key differences that happens when you're investing into real estate, let's just say you put $100,000 into real estate, and someone else puts $100,000 into a stock in type investment. Let's say that they both increase 25%. Well, that's one way it increases. Typically with real estate, you also have a renter, though, that is paying rent. It's an additional source of income, so they're paying rent now as well, and so there's additional cash coming in. It's like a 401k match when you work for a company, right? Somebody else is paying in. So actually, a self-directed IRA, it can grow quicker because of that rent capability, as well as we've all known what's happened with real estate in the last couple of years. I would venture to say that I would think that the real estate market has outperformed the stock market from an ROI and a return on value.
Right.
So that's enough.
You have your standard appreciation, but you also have income.
You do.
So you have income and appreciation.
Yep, you do.
Yep.
So that sets the stage. That should perk your interest, where you're like, hey, I want to learn about that. I think I'm gonna try that. And Mick, I think you've done that. You've heard that. Now you're actually using it. Let's start with your real estate career. How many years have you been in real estate?
Okay.
And just tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate, what your business.
Sure. Well, thank you first, Todd and Rich, for inviting me here today.
Oh, you bet. Glad you're here.
It's dear to my heart. I'm a third-generation realtor here in Phoenix, Scottsdale area.
Love it.
Yeah, my great uncle, my grandfather, my uncle, and my father was smart enough to stay out, I guess, but or maybe not smart, however it works out.
Right.
Sane.
And then sane. He's still sane. And then and myself, and I fought it for a long time. I didn't really know if I wanted to be in the real estate business, and my uncle talked me into it some years back. Been investing in rentals since 2011.
Okay.
Got my license in 2016, and came over here to HomeSmart in 2018.
Great.
So it's been a fun ride.
Great.
Even through a pandemic and the way that the market took off, and I would never have guessed, but it was a good learning experience as well. So,
right.
But I was really interested in the redirecting my IRA, because I have an IRA from a previous company, and it was just sitting there, and it was in one of the big companies, and it was not doing a whole lot. And I did move some money around, and one of the independent investment firms said, in the big companies, that's where they hide all your fees. All your fees is in your IRA, and you don't really see it as much. So when I heard that, and then I heard about redirecting, it just piqued my interest. I was like, this is for me. This is really going to be something I want to do, I want to learn, and then I want to teach it.
Okay.
And so that's really my next step, because I have learned, I have done it, and now I'm ready to teach it.
Ready to teach your customers,
my customers,
you know, the consumers that you work with, how to do that as well. And that's great. So, but you first have to experience it yourself.
Right. I wanted to get in and really learn it firsthand and do it. So I took a portion of my IRA from the big investment firm, left money there as well.
Okay.
And so I didn't have to take it all.
Yep.
And that's a big question a lot of people I've talked to so far have asked is, oh, I don't want to take it all or you know, invest it all in real estate. But well, you don't have to. Okay. And so just a small portion that I brought over and put it into a custodian that was able then to open up my LLC, got myself a bank account in that LLC with an EIN number. I'm all set, funded my account, and paid cash for a condo in Tempe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
With a renter already in there.
Okay.
Perfect.
So it worked out really good. So I cash flowed day one.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like a win-win on that too.
That is great.
Yeah.
So how long of a time period are we talking here from the time you first saw the opportunity, took action, and then from the time you took action to where you are today? Like how quick did that
Probably 3 months by the time I researched enough, decided what I wanted to do, that this was right for me.
Right.
Had to notify the investment firm that I'm taking the money, and like you were saying, Rich,
they pushed back.
They pushed back
a little bit,
and it's actually a close friend of mine that manages my money over there, and he didn't really balk much, but he never mentioned it. He never mentioned it to me. And a lot of the time, if you're with a company, they don't allow you to do it.
Right.
But once you leave, they don't tell you that, hey, now you have options.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and so when I heard that we do have other options, that I think I knew in the back of my mind, but I was like, oh, this is just what we do.
Right.
And so, so it worked out great. And so, 3 months, I think, and that was including the sale and closing.
Okay, so walk us through some of the details. Let's get down into the weeds.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do first? Did you form an LLC first? Did you move your money first? What did you do?
I moved my money first.
You moved your money first.
Yeah.
So what company, you're working with a self-directed IRA custodian.
Right.
Do you mind saying which company you work with?
I had a presentation at the elite meeting from Vantage IRA.
Okay.
And then at the Growth Summit this January, February this year, I saw them there and spoke with them there, and they made me comfortable that was the company I was going with. So I opened an account with them, transferred my money to them, and then had
How much did it cost to open the account? It's relatively
cheap.
Expensive,
We're talking hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars.
Right.
It was very reasonable, and the annual fee is hundreds. It's very reasonable.
Right. Okay, so VantageIRA.com. Shea McIntyre Roberts, I know, is working with a lot of HomeSmart agents, helping them right now do that. Thank you, Shea, by the way. JP Dada, who works there at Vantage IRA as well. So great. That's awesome. And so you set up the account.
They've been a pleasure to work with as well. They're just any questions, anything down the line. It's worked out great, and I've actually sent them a referral since then. So hopefully they're going to move forward with that as well.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm teaching it and I'm talking about it, which I think is could just be another portion of my real estate business as well, as helping people diversify into real estate. So
that's a great word, diversify.
Now you say that you're teaching it. I'm going to jump out here on the limb and assume that you're teaching it to your clients. Right. And so now you've got a client that you've been working with for a while who has retirement money saved up, who has now learned that retirement money can be invested in real estate. Right. That person has got to be really happy with you.
Yeah. And I call it my argument, but my pitch to that is who wouldn't want to own real estate in Phoenix?
Right.
The market here is just has an upside that with the growth and everything we have, it's almost a no-brainer when you think about what we're dealing with here in the Phoenix market, and the growth that we have in real estate. People say, "Oh, the industry is overpriced," or it's. And I've lived here my whole life. I'm a native, and I have properties I wish I would have bought that were overpriced back then. Guess what? Guess what? Yeah, they're. I wish I would have done it, pulled the trigger back then. So I think we can always say that in real estate. If you're going to hold your holdings long enough.
You don't wait to buy real estate.
Right.
Buy real estate and wait.
That's right. Exactly. I like that.
Right.
So Vantage is the first step. And then I had a local law firm here for $9.95, set up my LLC, specializes in IRA LLCs because there's a difference between a regular LLC and the IRA. And so I made sure.
How did you find them? Was it a referral? Did you just research them?
I researched them, and then they were local, and I talked to the owner.
Okay.
And so he made me feel like it was a good call right here.
So when I set mine up, I thought I knew how to do this. So I went out there, I set up my account with Vantage, and then set up my LLC, and I screwed it up. I screwed up my LLC. That's why I teach. Don't screw up your LLC. And so then I went with the referral from JP and his crew, and we unscrewed the LLC, did it right, and then it's just super simple and very cost effective. And so get somebody who understands what you're doing, because setting up that LLC is a little quirky. It's a little different than if you're just setting up a normal LLC.
Yeah. And well, you mentioned that to me too, so I made sure I did it right. But on the Vantage website as well, it has some of the names of the law firm, and the law firm I used was on that, on their page as well. So
great.
All the boxes were checked at that point, and set it up. So once I had it set up, I went on irs.gov and established an EIN number, which then allowed me to go to the bank and open up a checking account for it.
Okay.
And then Vantage just funds the checking account from their account that they have. So it was real smooth. I wasn't reinventing any wheel. I was just going along with the process, and there is a process that I know pretty well now that I've been part of it. So
it's not difficult. It's just intricate.
Right. And follow steps in the right order.
Yep.
Like you said, if you set up something wrong, then you have to redo it to do it right. Because last thing you want to do is set it up with money that you haven't paid taxes on yet, and then you get penalized some way by the IRS.
Yeah.
Right. So you chose to, in your case, actually purchase a property outright.
Yeah.
So are you self-managing the property from a property management? Okay.
I am.
All right. So, but at that point, you do have, so this is how this works as well. Everyone, you have a renter who is paying rent. Right. So that rent now is going into that checking account. And if there's expenses or repairs or something that would have to happen, a plumber needs to go do something, then you could write that repair out of that checking account. But the rest of the time, the money really needs to stay in that account, and that's where it's accruing and growing, as well as the property is appreciating.
Right.
And so one of the way someone explained it to me one day, they said, well, just imagine for a minute that someone's paying $2,000 a month in rent. I'm just using round numbers. Over a 12-month time period, that's $24,000 now of income that has now come in as well. That's like someone like you paying in another $24,000 into your IRA. Right. Now, yes, you have expenses and certain things that come out of it, so it's not all the profit. But now multiply that out by 4 years, and you've basically got $96,000 or $100,000 that's been paid in 4 years now into that IRA.
That you have not
You haven't
received
contributed. You haven't contributed. Someone else has, and by the way, it's appreciating, and the property's appreciating.
It's a beautiful world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. No, I am too.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of you how quickly you've moved as well.
Yeah.
Because we've talked to some other agents who have, they like the concept maybe, but they've, they haven't moved as quickly as you. So good job.
Yeah. No, I originally I was going to buy some fixer-uppers and use the money out of the same account. Can't commingle the money at all.
No, right.
And any income has to stay in that account. And I was going to just do some flips and see if I could maybe generate $20,000, $25,000 a flip and do it 3 or 4 times a year. But then I was like, this is perfect. There's a renter already in the property. She's paying rent. At the close, they prorated the rent, so I got paid, every day since the day we closed. And then, when the market changes and interest rates come down, I'm probably going to put it on the market and see what I can get for it, and then just redo it and do it again and do it. And so it's, and that return, when you add what I received in rental payments, plus what I receive in the additional equity that I built up over a year, 2 years, whatever it might be. I calculate close to a 40% return.
That's great.
Outstanding.
I mean, and you can't do that at the big investment firms with any type of S&P.
Even the best year on my S&P 500 index fund, I think the best I've ever got was like 15, 16%.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's over, let's just say over 3 years. So we're talking maybe 15% a year on average with, the extra equity. But I'll take those returns all day long. I mean, that's a great investment. Plus, like we said at the beginning, it's an industry that I know.
Yeah.
I don't have to say, which stock do we pick and how do we do it and which one is good and bad, because I'll pick the bad one. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Or
somebody recommends a stock and it's a new industry, so you go out there and you research everything you possibly can about that industry, and it's still not enough to know. Right.
Yeah. Right. Or something happens then because you're not knowledgeable about that industry and you don't react quick enough or whatever. So good.
Yeah.
But as real estate professionals, we have a pretty good idea of what's going on in the real estate business. At least we think we do.
We do. And so now now you've experienced it. Now you have that experience level. So you are, talking to other consumers about it, because what is the number that JP shared with us about? Isn't it 33 trillion?
$33 trillion
much?
in retirement funds that are in retirement funds in
indirected or in
401ks.
401ks and IRAs that are not self-directed, right? They're tied with the stock market. So there's a huge amount of money there that is, and you said a key word earlier, diversify.
Yeah.
So diversity, that's a large part, because no one has a crystal ball about anything. But all your eggs in one basket, or diversify a little bit and have some in the stock market and some in real estate investments. Right.
Yeah.
So sounds pretty smart to me.
Right. Well,
diversification can also be a condo, multifamily, and a single family. Right? Not it's a very simple diversification, but
let's go bigger. Buy a small commercial building.
Well, there we go. Yeah,
that's rented out somewhere. And did I press something? Or
I don't know. Something's going on with our background, but that's okay. So for those of you on YouTube, something just changed behind us. But for the rest of you just listening to this,
right. So, well, that's exciting. I'm happy for you.
It is exciting.
So, how are you talking about this then with customers?
Yeah, with customers, friends, family. I mean, just everyone that I know has worked at a company or that has either not necessarily retired, but maybe switched to a different company. So they've and big corporations typically offer a 401k that is eventually rolled into an IRA. And I ask them, do you invest in real estate? I know you own your home. Do you invest in real estate? And they're like, I wish I had the cash, or I wish I could, or that would be great. And I think, what if I can show you a way that you can? I know, and I'd ask them, in the past, or I know if they have an IRA or something, or that might be my first question, but I kind of lead into that. Would you like to be an investor? And they're like, what? In real estate? Really? I mean, it's like that's.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the wealthiest people in the world, what's their
Exactly. Yeah.
their investments are real estate. So I was like, yeah, really, because I was telling my wife, because we work together, and so we had the condo inspected, and we went to meet the inspector, and we were driving up, and I said, you know what? I said, just this portion of money that I put into this, that it will generate more per month when we retire in monthly than my Social Security will.
Right.
So I was like,
One condo.
one condo.
One condo. I want to jump on this.
Yeah.
One investment property will generate more than what you'd get from Social Security.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's if I even wait. And you know how you have to wait
Right.
longer in
Sure.
Social Security to get the biggest payout.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, this could be a hold forever.
Right.
You know, and let my kids sell it or something. But
Right.
it's just, the more I dig into this, it's just like, wow, there's so many opportunities to make this
so
work.
many people that would answer the way that, you know, would you like to be a real estate investor? Wish I could.
Yeah.
I wish I could invest in real estate,
Right.
or, you know, I just don't have the cash. Well, that was eye-opening for me when I heard about this as well. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're out there telling the story
Yeah.
and helping with that.
So you did say that you happen to pay cash for the condo, but with this system, you don't have to pay cash. You can put some cash down. You can get a loan
Right.
for the balance. Of course, there are some rules with that, and so we're gonna. We're going to drill down here a little bit on this and probably get in the weeds, but you have to get a non-recourse loan because it's actually your investment LLC that is getting the loan. It's not you personally.
Right.
So you're not personally liable for that loan. Your LLC is, and so you have to go through a company who will do that as a non-recourse loan. Meaning, in addition to everything else, the interest rate is slightly higher. But properties can still cash flow, and they can still make sense. Plus,
Right.
if it's a property where you have rental income, then you have somebody else making that payment.
Right.
You know.
How did you find a home or a condo rather that already had a renter in it?
I was searching a lot of the off-market websites, and I subscribed to those to get emails daily. But I found it on the MLS.
Okay.
Yeah, I found it. I had a hot sheet that I click every day, and all the new listings, and it popped up, and it seemed like it was priced relatively well. And then the one thing also is it being my personal IRA, and I'm the realtor, I couldn't take the compensation on that sale.
Right.
So I negotiated that off the sale, off the sales price. So my IRA got that commission.
Yep.
Is what happened.
All right.
So it was rolled into there. So I got a discount on the house, which basically I was like, okay, I'll just put that compensation in my IRA, and then so that worked out. That worked out well. I mean,
Right.
and then so yeah, it's
Right.
it's been a good learning curve for me.
Good.
Yeah,
Sounds like a win-win-win.
it is.
does.
It really is.
It does. Is there anything you wish you would have known before you started that you learned along the way?
Not really, because I asked a lot of questions before I actually pulled the trigger. Did my research as well. Probably, I wish I would have known about this sooner.
Like
Well,
decades sooner.
think
Yeah,
we all,
I hear you.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would have been nice to be during some of the big booms of the real estate here in town. It would have been nice to have that where my IRA is building that equity as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I guess most of our listening audience are professionals, realtor professionals. Is there anything you'd want to say to them directly about this topic? To encourage them, I guess, about.
I think you should tap into that $33 trillion that's out there that's sitting parked in these big, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch.
Yep.
They don't want to tell you about it, but it is real. It's an opportunity to have another segment of, I think, my business for sure, to have another revenue generator, as well as showing my clients that I'm watching out for them.
Right.
That I want to help them in any way I can, and if they're interested in being investors, I can show them how without tapping into their own personal money, but the money that they've saved through a corporation that might have matched it.
Right.
So I mean, they've got some money that's been leveraged already,
Right.
and that they can continue to leverage that money. And like you were saying, if you could put a non-recourse loan on these properties, that's another way to leverage that money.
Yeah.
And you have more properties and,
Right.
and continue to go on with that. So,
Right.
And another way to leverage the money without a non-recourse loan is there are other investors trying to do the same thing, and so maybe you team up with somebody,
Right.
and you're not buying an entire property, but maybe two of you go in together or three of you go in together. That creates partnership questions, but it's an option,
Right.
And so there's lots of opportunity out there.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm proud of you. I'm happy that you have taken the action, and I'm happy that you've shared with the audience how quickly you were able to take action and get some results, and really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to be here.
Yeah. So while we have you in the studio, though, how about business in general? Your business, if you were to tell our audience, how have you built your business over the years? Just, what probably has helped you be the most successful in real estate with your clients?
Referral based. When I first got in the business, I did a lot of cold calling, expireds. My mentor back then said, "Here's a phone book," but we didn't have really phone books then. So he's like, "All right, you're going to get a dialer and you're going to cold call." And
Is that mentor your uncle?
One of them, yeah, because
That
he had the phone book. Yeah,
absolutely.
And so just rejection,
Right.
and I hated it.
Right.
I still hate it.
Who likes rejection?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not a normal thing that humans gravitate towards.
The 2,000-pound gorilla trying to pick up the phone. But I like talking to people I know. And so, I called everybody in my phone book and on my phone and said, "Do you have a realtor?" And they said yes or no. If they said yes, I said, "Keep me as your backup." If they said no, I said, "I want to be your realtor." And so the ones that I could really tell that were serious, I wrote them down as my A+. And so I really worked on referral. And that's helped a lot, especially through the down times, is they'll say, "Oh, well, so-and-so down the street's moving. Well, let's get in contact with them." And so that's really helped. And then this year, we at the Growth Summit, the Selling Ninja.
Right.
I'm implementing that right now.
Okay.
I think I read the book. I'm excited about it.
Right.
And I think that there's just a lot of things that clicked. The light bulb went on. So,
Right.
But yeah, just really
There's a lot of light bulbs, and there's a lot of things that click with that system.
Right.
I listened to that book. I've listened to like 52 books in the last year and a half. And so, just consuming a lot of stuff, but that was one of them. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And listening to Larry Kindle talk about the system at Growth Summit, I was ready to go back into real estate sales immediately. Man, I was fired up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's listening to him there was great, but then reading the book, and then there is the different. I don't remember what kind of. There's a class that he does for
it's installation.
Installation class.
Yeah, have you been to that?
No, but there was one in Colorado, but I'm waiting for the Phoenix one to show up. But we'll see.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Mick, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know? Is there anything that we've missed? Any other thoughts that you have? Anything at all that just pops into mind that you want to share?
Well, at first it seemed like it was overwhelming because you're so busy with your day-to-day that how am I going to fit this into my schedule and what's the benefit going to be? But I fit it into my schedule and I did it quickly, and it was something that that I saw, a big opportunity. And so, yeah, I would just say try and carve out some time and in your schedule and talk about it to people and just see the interest. And if you do have an IRA, I would recommend doing it yourself and learning it so that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, and you've been working off of referrals pretty much your entire real estate career. And so agents who are listening to this podcast, they may have a referral coming to the Phoenix metro area, Scottsdale, any one of the communities that we have around here. How would they find you?
They could find me at kapanicasgroup.com.
Might want to spell Kapanicas.
Yeah. Kapanicas group.com. And they can call my cell phone. I'm always on call for clients and referrals. So 602-478-3805.
Awesome. Love it.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us
Thank
today.
you. Yeah.
When we talked with you a couple weeks ago, you were still just getting started. Actually, it's 3 months ago now, I guess. You're just getting started. I'm proud of you, and really appreciated you being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So for all of you, we hope that you heard some amazing information today, and that you're going to apply it to your life, your business as well. If you liked what you heard, please give us a thumbs up down at the like down below. We'll see you back on future episodes. Mick, thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd.
Appreciate it. Todd Sumney here saying we'll see you on the next episode.
Yep, Rich LaRue. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.